Electric Fire Chapter 18, Closing Road.
Gum had found me, but my Star Wars shirt was gone. It had vanished. I was taken far from Tom and Maddie's, but Sonic was with me. When we were taken, my vision was completely blurred. I found myself in a room on a table under some really bright lights. Sonic wasn't seen though, but I could hear him shouting from across the room, then silence. But then the commander appeared in front of me. My ears drew back a bit when he spoke.
Well, aren't you difficult to catch? Expected more from the so-called ultimate life form. I mean, I kinda figured you'd put up a better fight, but anyway, I don't think that will be the case. After all, your time is finally up.
I couldn't use my powers at all. There was something on my left arm. It was draining my energy fast. I growled and bared my fangs at the commander. It was all I could think to do. I barely had the energy to get up. My worry was also on Sonic. He didn't do anything to get himself involved in this mess. Okay, sure, he escaped the cage and we destroyed a lab, but it isn't like we hurt anyone. The commander wasn't exactly fazed by my growl or my sharp teeth. Instead, he pulled out his weapon like before. He wasn't wanting to send me back to isolation, but instead he wanted to end me right here. I never really gave him a reason to, but there were no interruptions. Sonic couldn't stop him, neither could I.
As for your friend, well, I told one of the men here that they could do whatever they wanted with him. Agent Stone chose to do exactly what Robotnik wanted to do back before he vanished. He thinks he could use his powers to bring him back. We need his intelligence after all.
With that, the gun was aimed toward me, but then things went black. I woke up in Sonic's bed. The room was still dark. I didn't feel comfortable staying by him after realizing that it was all a dream. I ended up leaving the room. Sonic was still asleep. He was purring a bit, probably having a good dream. I went downstairs to get a glass of water before heading to the living room. After I drank some water, the couch looked comfortable though Ozzy was curled up on it snoring. I didn't want to wake him or kick him off the couch. I couldn't go back to Sonic and I didn't want to steal Ozzy's spot. I ended up going into Tom and Maddie's room. Tom wasn't a heavy sleeper, it seemed. He awoke just as I stepped in. Guess he heard my footsteps.
Sonic,
He whispered, try not to alert Maddie. It's Shadow. I had a nightmare. I didn't want to stay in Sonic's room. I responded in a whisper as well. Tom thought for a moment, but then he got up.
Ulrich, you can stay with us, but just this once.
His voice was still a whisper. The bed was a queen-size bed from what I could tell. Back on the Ark, if I had a nightmare, I used to curl up beside Maria. We shared a room back then, but we had separate beds. I climbed and then Tom scooted back into bed. Maddie wasn't disturbed at all. Tom fell back asleep pretty quickly after he settled back down. It wasn't long before I fell asleep. I didn't take up too much space, at least. No more nightmares haunted me for the rest of the night. I felt kinda bad for leaving Sonic's side. I just didn't want to be reminded of the nightmare. I thought about leaving the house in hopes of driving Gun away from Sonic. Surely wherever I went, they'd follow. I'm a lousy excuse of a protector after all. Sonic found his home. I felt like I was stealing it from him. I thought maybe it was time to head off on my own. Sure, I felt that protecting Sonic was my destiny, but he has Tom and Maddie along with other friends. I was starting to feel as though I belonged somewhere. I decided to stay a little longer due to the fact that Sonic couldn't control his powers very well. It's the least I could do before heading off on my own. Morning soon came. I ended up sleeping in until Sonic came in. Tom and Maddie weren't in the room at the time.
Yo, Edgelord, wake up, buddy. Maddie made us some breakfast.
I looked up to see Sonic. He seemed happy. I guess Tom told him about what occurred. He didn't seem upset. Maybe he didn't think I was stealing Tom and Maddie from him. I thought he'd be a bit on edge, but no. Things seemed fine between us. He helped me to get down off the bed. Getting up on it wasn't a problem, but the getting down part was different. The bed was a bit high off the ground. Keep in mind that Tom and Maddie are a bit taller than me. Things went well for the rest of the day. Me and Sonic went into the woods after breakfast. I thought it was the safest place in order to help him gain control of his own powers. Out here there weren't any power lines or any ways of causing a power outage. We were in a dirt clearing in the middle of the woods, perfectly safe. No drones could find us in here.